well, we'll move on then to our final issue of the show, which is Batgirl issue 2. This is, of course, the 2009 series that came out of Batman Reborn. And not only was Dick Grayson taking over Batman, Stephanie Brown was taking over Batgirl. And we obviously talked about the first issue, praised it pretty heavily. Yeah. And issue 2 comes here. We had the cliffhanger, of course, was Babs showing up to confront Stephanie about being Batgirl, kind of. What's so great about it is the hypocrisy, because Babs kind of started that way too. She kind of did it without it being sanctioned. She just went out and did it.
Yeah, and that was kind of the whole point, that she could prove herself.
So,
now we should definitely do Batgirl Year 1 at some point.
I love Batgirl Year 1. That is such a on the vote book.
That is going to be on a vote at some point.
So we have Steph, taking these, carjackers or whatever they are. I can't even remember. They're at a mechanic's place, but
and she's like, "God damn it! I should have learned how to sew."
Yeah, but Babs is trying to talk her out of it, and she's, Steph's just like munching her waffles as you do, because she's the waffle queen, of course. And I love that she runs away from Babs bigging up her stairs. It's such a... She doesn't even say anything about it. She doesn't crack a joke about her being in a wheelchair. She just walks up the stairs to get away from her.
Yeah,
it's just
her house is obviously not built to accommodate.
Yeah, it's just a statement. And what does Babs do? She throws a batarang at her.
That'll do the trick.
Yeah. And she's like, I can handle myself. And Babs is like, yeah, we'll see. So we have, Steph in class, basically, again, not really pay attention, but she does actually crack a little joke based on the lesson, which makes some of the other people in class laugh. And she's like, hey, this is a bit better than high school. People aren't just lame for the sake of it, until the douchebag tries to kind of ask her out in a really sort of, frat boy kind of way. And she's like, nah, but actually it's still a little bit like high school. Still...
Yeah, and the popular girl, kind of, quote unquote, just kind of laughs at her a bit.
Yeah. And Babs is looking into the recent death of the I think one of the race car drivers. He was on a drug. This is where it's going, where there's this designer drug that's making people go kind of crazy. It's kind of exotic. And of course there's this harvest festival, and I love the running gag here where Stephanie and then later Babs is like, what does Gotham even harvest? There's no harvesting going on.
Yeah.
But the popular girl basically acts out because she's taking some of this drug. Someone spiked the drink, the punch, at this festival, and Steph sees the guy run off. She's like, okay, I'm getting my batsuit out, and she runs off. But of course, much like Babs warned her earlier, eventually she was going, because do you know what I loved about this? This is going to be a bizarre comparison, but it reminded me a little bit of Jurassic Park 3.
Defend.
Stick with me. So in Jurassic Park 3, the kid that was left on the island that they're there to find, when Alan Grant finds him, he's got a jar of T-Rex piss, and the reason why he has it is because it scares away the smaller dinosaurs, but the bigger dinosaur, the Spinosaurus, it attracts. So it's a really useful tool, but it's dangerous against the one thing that's bigger and badder. So that's kind of what Babs says here, but the bat symbol is that it scares away the low-level thugs, but for the crazier villains, it'll attract them.
How is it that Jurassic Park 3, of all things, has a better jar of piss usage than Batman v Superman?
I can't believe it, but my comparison there, I think, was basically perfect.
I mean, I want to give you shit, but you might be onto something.
The bat symbol is the jar of T-Rex piss in this context. And of course, so this guy doesn't run. He pulls out a knife. He's got his thugs to sort of back him up. And Babs starts talking to her, and she's like, wait, how can you talk to me? She's like, look, this was Cassie's suit. Of course there's some comms in there because I'm Oracle. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like, you did wash the suit, right? And she's like, sure.
Steph. And she has to dodge the truck and all the rest of it. And Babs is just kind of rubbing her eyes, like, oh god, all right. And also our servers are starting to smoke. She's new computers.
Yeah.
It's all very amusing. And she calls in Alfred, and Alfred's with the outsiders.
He's flying a shuttle in space.
Yeah, and she's like, "Hey, is the key still hidden where it was supposed to be?
Still under the mat." And he's like, "I think we moved it to a hollow rock in the garden, so try there instead." So
it cuts to the Batcave, and Babs has got Steph in the Batcave, and they're analyzing the crime, the hologram of the crime scene, and looking at what's going on. and Steph's insisting that she's going to do this. Nice little bit here where she's like, "Hey, like the original Batgirl outfits in one of these cases," and I like how there's actually a mention about how they're changing it. Dick's actually moving things around to suit him because it's his Batcave now. Because there's a little joke about, I wonder what he's going to do with a penny. But
yeah, there's a nice bit of how Steph shouldn't aspire to have a costume there because that usually doesn't mean something good.
Yeah. Oh, to be fair with Dick, he moved on to a better thing.
Yeah, but he's the exception.
Yeah, everyone else is because they either died or get paralyzed or
shit happened.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I love Babs throwing it at her face, and she even acknowledges in her narration. She throws it at her face when she says, "Oh, the cop said someone was pretending to be Batgirl." That's how she was referred to on official channels. And
then she's like, "No, I'm being spiteful now," and even though it's probably true that the cop said that.
Yeah, and she admits that she might even be jealous. Like that might be it. She might want to be this herself. And then she throws it in her face where she's like, if you don't do what I tell you, I'll tell your mother.
Yeah.
So really good stuff. The guy that the cops picked up though, there was the main one she was fighting. Like basically there's like a breakout attempt when he's in the car where the manhole kind of shoots up at them. There's a whole attack to try and break him free, and the big reveal at the end of the issue, the big cliffhanger, is that Scarecrow is behind this drug, and that's why it's making people go so crazy.
Because it's
fear toxin. So yeah, Scarecrow is a solid B-level villain to give like a sidekick, a Batgirl level character, kind of a big villain to fight in the first arc, but not like it's not the Joker, but Scarecrow, he's big enough that he's a name.
I agree. He's a name where he's big enough that okay, sure, he can fight Batman and take him on in a story, but he's not so big that you don't doubt that one of the sidekicks could take him out on his own.
Yeah,
on their own. In this, just like they can have a good shot at it.
Yeah, not to say. I mean, I think there's a great potential in like Batgirl or another character like on their own having to take on a Joker like story on their own, and how you could sort of almost like in wrestling you refer to it as a push where you elevate someone to a new standing where now of course now they're a world champion contender as opposed to just a mid-carder, right? And I feel like you can do that with a comic book character by like giving them that one shot where they take on a villain where they're not supposed to be able to fight but they kind of rise to the occasion, and that's what the story is that they actually rise to the challenge and do it.
I don't know what a mid-carder is, but yes, I agree.
Someone who's in the middle of the show, not the main event.
Right, okay. Sure. No, I get your point here. That I think the thing is that there's... I suspect most of the Bat family, as they are, at a reasonable level, could do a story against the Joker and, come off and go, okay, we managed to survive, but it would be tough. Right?
Oh yeah.
They wouldn't do it easy. They'd scrape through it.
Scarecrow is a mid-card villain, to put it the way I'm saying.
Sure, yeah. Scarecrow's one you can do as the first villain. You can't do that with Joker. You got to build the Joker.
Oh, absolutely. So no, it's and I think that's why the traps that some writers of Batgirl in the last decade have fallen into, because it's been Babs again, is they always have to reference Killing Joke. So we always have to have the hints of the Joker sort of being mentioned, even if he's never the outright villain in the story. It's
why I kind of love James Gordon Jr.
Oh, I like him too a lot, yeah.
In the sense that it gives Babs a really personal villain that can always reference history and such, but is unique to her and is a threat in multiple ways and isn't just the Joker again. I like it a lot.
I feel like there's a real challenge trying to build a rogues gallery for Dick or Barbara or in this case Steph, where for some reason Batman has so many great ones but for some reason they struggle so much to create a new one for some of the other characters. And I get that even the big character, even like Superman and Wonder Woman, don't get new good villains that often, but Batgirl as a concept's been around, and even just as a book has been around since like 2000-ish. So like in all that time we couldn't establish like one character, because even James Gordon Jr. wasn't established in Batgirl. That was established in Detective Comics, and it was a Dick Bat story. It was
established there, and as a Batman story originally, but I think primarily a Barbara villain right now.
It makes sense for her to be attached to it, obviously.
It does, but I think that's probably the only, out of any of the Batgirls, that's the only Batgirl villain I could really name.
I mean, I think you could argue Shiva for casting away.
Yeah, but again, it has this thing where the difference between James Gordon Jr. is that okay, he had one story as a Batman villain, and then we molded him into Batgirl pretty quickly after that.
Do you know what I think? Do you know what I honestly think the problem is with making villains for all these characters is that I think they keep trying to like make villains that specifically like, oh, we'll make some sort of villain that's like a hip trendy villain because that'll particularly feel like a foe for young Batgirl to take on. And I'm like, just think of a cool villain. Just think of a cool villain, and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But eventually, one of them's going to click, and one of them's going to hit that perfect pitch where it's like they're a new villain, and it won't matter. Like they could have been a Batman villain, sure, but they're not. It's Batgirl or Robin who are fighting them.
Do you know what it's kind of like? It's like Deathstroke for the Teen Titans.
In
that you wouldn't go, oh, that's a perfect match for the Teen Titans, right? But no, they made it work then, and it stuck.
Yeah, and Deathstroke's still around. He's had his own book for 50 plus issues multiple times. So, like, so just that's basically it. Just stop trying to make something that's like. I feel like they go out of their way to either try and make something that's hip and trendy to go with the younger character, or they'll try and avoid having it be anyone like a Batman villain. I'm like, it's okay if, like, because even some Batman villains have some overlap. It's okay.
It is. I'm thinking like in the Rebirth Nightwing book, was it Rapture was his name, and I think it was a solid character, worked fine, but I think they went too hard to try and make it. No, this is Dick's villain, right? Whereas
they tried to tie it too much into his backstory. Like there was too much.
Yeah.
Like not every. It's one of my pet peeves actually about storytelling in general, whether it be movies, TV shows, comics. But when you've got established, like standalone movies is not really an issue, but any kind of established characters where they're around for a long time. See when they try and retcon a villain into their backstory, I'm like, stop it! I hate it because for some reason it's something that so many writers feel the need to do, and even when it's done well and like in this one context maybe it's okay for this character, I'm so sick of writers doing it that it always like there's a little like.
And I want to make it clear, I don't hate Rapture. I think Rapture was a fine character.
Oh yeah, no, he's
if
fine.
He comes back, I'll be down for it, but I definitely feel like it's so specific. We have to make this specific to Dick, right? In the same way in many senses that James Gordon Jr. is specific to Babs, right? It's her, it's so personal for them, whereas it doesn't, like, the Joker's not personal to Bruce.
No, yeah, exactly.
It's just the Joker. It's fine.
It can become personal to the characters through the story of them encountering the villain. It doesn't have to be something tied to their past. Like, just have them encounter this new villain, and then hopefully, if the story's good enough, we'll associate the villain with that character, and it'll be their new nemesis or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and that all came because Scarecrow showed up in the issue.
Yeah.
But Scarecrow, solid B-tier villain to have Steph face off against. Good stuff. So, I think I mean I loved that first issue. This issue was really solid. I wouldn't rate it as highly as that first one.
It's still a great issue, but it's not as strong. No, I mean, it doesn't do anything wrong. It's just not as every beat is fantastic in the first issue. Where this is like, it's good. It's real good.
Yeah, solid 8 out of 10 for me. This issue.
I agree. I want to give I want to give a special shout out to the cover for this issue. The Phil Noto cover, because that was like my phone background for like a year and a half, because I love that cover. It's so good. This is the one with the orange the orange background with Batgirl. Like,
I think
the yellow boot.
Later on in this series, some of the first ever Art Germ covers I saw pop up.
Oh really?
Yeah.
As variants or regular covers?
I think they were the regular covers, but I mean I could be wrong. But there's a couple of great shots of her in the rain and these covers are just, and I'm pretty sure they're Art Germ, but it was long before who I knew he was. It was just kind of like in retrospect I went, oh, that was Art Germ. Must have been.
No, I get you.